I can finish this video. I cannot talk right today for some reason, and I shouldn't even say those words out loud because then it's just going to perpetuate this feeling in my mind that I can't talk today. I can talk today. It's going to be great. So hi, my name is Kate. This is called dowsing. I do a specific type of dowsing called spiritual response technique, really specific type of spiritual healing modality that was developed back in the 80s. But there's all kinds of dowsing. You can do basic dowsing, you can do complicated dowsing. For me, dowsing involves some level of channeling, some level of divination, similar to tarot, where you get a card, and for me, I get a word or words on a chart, and there's a set meaning to them or a set symbolism, and then you translate it for the context of the particular clearing that you're doing. So for today, we're looking at insanity, and that can mean all sorts of different things. That can be in this realm or another realm. That can be insanity of the conscious mind, the subconscious. That can be insanity of the external world around us versus our own internal world. So when we do the dowsing, we're going to find out what exactly is today's type of insanity that we're talking about, and then how can we call in that new energy of trust? Are we open to trust? Are we blocked to trust? What's going on there? So that's what we do with this dowsing. And then as I'm doing this, I like to believe that it is benefiting the collective in some way. This may resonate for you, it may not. If it doesn't, that's okay. You can just move on by. But if it does, how wonderful. And I'm happy that you're here. The last thing I'm going to do before we get started is highlight my pendulum of the day, because she's a beauty. So this is now available up on my shop. I just posted it this morning. It is a very special, very unique. I'm going to try to put it up here so you can see it. Ocean jasper. She's so colorful. She's pink, she's blue, she's green, she's white, she's swirly. She then also has 2 vintage beads, a super long chain, and then this magical and wonderful hot air balloon pewter, stamped with pewter, pendant, which then if you wanted to, you could turn it into something else. So anyway, it's up on my shop right now. Please feel free to go visit it because she's just dazzling and amazing. And if you buy her, you can be a part of Clearing with Kate episode history. I don't even know what number now. I've been doing these for a while. So, okay, enough of that, enough of our pendulums, even though I love them so much, but let's get started on this clearing, shall we? So, insanity. What the heck is going on with this insanity? What's even happening? What is the root? Spirit, show us what is the root of this insanity. I'm getting chart 25. So what I do is I just zip on through my charts. I find chart 25. This chart says just clear everything. No need to research or pursue. So that's the first thing we're going to do, is just a general clearing and say, Spirit, clear it. Whatever we can clear without research, whatever's going on that doesn't even need to be named, because sometimes, you know what, some things don't even need to be named. All right, well, there we go. That was the first initial thing. Well, now we're going to chart 5. For any of you who've watched my clearings in the past, chart 5 has got negative motivations, blocks, and interferences, and some of those interferences can be some real interesting things. So what is the root of this insanity? Anxiety. There's a root of anxiety involved in this insanity, and that's interesting because when this first came up for me in the last video, and I heard or read the word insanity, anxiety was definitely a part of what I was thinking of, which was it didn't necessarily have words, it just had form in my body, which I don't know how else to describe it other than I just feel things in my body. But insanity, anxiety, we're feeling insane because our bodies and our minds know that what we're receiving from external forces is not valid, is not real. And maybe little bits of it are real, maybe a little portion of this, a portion of that. But for the most part, there's a dissonance. It's cognitive dissonance. And that's what this root of insanity is here's this thing that someone's trying to tell me. I feel a little bit of truth in it, but I feel a whole lot of untruth in it that I can't really prove because I don't have all the insight and all the information. So now I just feel crazy. And I think a lot of us can probably relate to that feeling. You go on the news, you go on social media, you basically go anywhere, and everything just feels off. Everything just feels kind of crazy. So that's what we're going to look at today, is how we can release ourselves from the anxiety that is coming from this cognitive dissonance. Because sadly, I don't think the cognitive dissonance is going to go away. We're not going to suddenly have a whole media organization and political system and a government that's going to want to tell us the whole truth and nothing but the truth. That's not going to happen. But what can happen is we get more solid in our understanding of the truth. We call in that trust. We call in that ability to trust in ourselves and in our own inner wisdom, so that when we watch a video, when we see a news clip, when we read an article, we can just inherently know that we can gather from it what we need to gather from it, but we can also let go what we don't need to latch onto or carry forward with us. And I would encourage anybody to really get to that point in your life right now where you are able to discern what is the thing you need to take from a news story or from the outside world, and what is the thing you need to let go of, because it's not always black and white. You can't find that a news story has one bad piece of information, so now you can't listen to any of it. It really is. We're all being called upon at this point to figure out within everything what is the good and what is the bad, what is the light, what is the dark, what is the truth, what is the untruth, to be able to, be those discerning creatures that we are. When we are tapped into our high self, when we're tapped into our spiritual side, that process isn't so hard. It might sound hard from what I'm describing right now, but when you're connected to your high self, it's not as hard. You just sort of start to get with the flow of it. Like, okay, yeah, I can take this, I can take that, and this is how I can feel good about, what I end up gathering from this information. So we're releasing the collective from the anxiety around any kind of cognitive dissonance that's been created by the news media, by external sources, by our systems that we all operate inside of. I'm going to chart 14 to say, what else is here? Is there anything else here? So our conscious mind, there's a conscious mind program that is involved here. And we're just saying we release ourselves from this conscious mind program that's been telling us that we can't trust ourselves, we should be doubting ourselves and trusting in someone or something else, even when that someone or something else is clearly off base. So we're just clearing our conscious mind, that mind that is the mind that is operating us the most in our day-to-day, or at least the one that we think is in control. And so we're releasing any programming that is telling us that we don't actually know and can trust our own heart and our own intuition. All right, and then what do we do when we're going into inside of my chart? So we're calling on, this is interesting. So what's coming forward right now is there are ascended masters, there are beings that have ascended, there are souls that have ascended that are going to step forward to help us in this process. So it can sound a little strange, I understand that, but we just call upon our own willingness to listen to our higher selves, to listen to our guides, to listen to our masters, the masters who know better than us, who have the wisdom of the past, the present, and the future that they have access to, that they are willing to share with the collective when the collective is willing to tap into them. If you deny your higher self, if you deny your guides, if you deny the truth of the masters, it's going to be more of a struggle. But if you're open and willing to listen to your inner knowing, to listen to those inner guides, I do think that this process will feel easier when you just start trusting that own inner voice and that own inner knowing. Okay. So then we're going to say what is going on here as far as, our trust and our ability to trust ourselves. So what percent are we open to trusting ourselves? This is great, 100%. And then what percent are we blocked to trusting ourselves? Okay, also 100%. So our heart is open to our own trust. We want to trust ourselves. We desire to trust ourselves, but there's an external block that's blocking us to our own self-trust. And so let's take a look at that here on our chart and say, what is the block to our own self-trust? An archetype is coming up. So what is an archetype? What is the archetype that is blocking us to our own? The perfectionist archetype. It's like, okay, well, if it's not perfect, then I can't accept it. If I can't come up with the perfect answer, then I can't trust it. If what I'm seeing in front of me isn't perfect, then I'm going to brush it off entirely. And this goes back to what I was saying before about right now, we're all being called to be our most discerning selves, which means here is the whole thing. I always do this. I always show you like things with my hands. Why? I don't know. But here's the whole part. And for many of us, if this whole thing isn't perfect, we can't accept any of it. We're like, nope, throw the baby out with the bathwater. The whole thing isn't perfect. The whole thing isn't right. The whole thing isn't truth. I don't want any of it. And I think what Spirit is calling for us to do right now is to be able to say, I can find out what parts of this information are right and true and accurate for me, and I can trust myself to distill down the parts that I need to let go. I can be my own editor. I can be, here we go. What am I coming? I can filter. I trust myself to filter truth from fiction. You can say that right now with me. I trust myself to filter Do it again. I trust myself to filter truth from fiction. I trust myself to be able to discern the truth inside of an untruth. Because that just happens sometimes. Life is not always black and white. Life is not always cut and dry. Life is not always 100% right, 100% wrong. And this is what makes life so challenging sometimes, is that gray area. And having to trust yourself to know, okay, of all of this information that I'm being exposed to right now, how do I know it's real? How do I know it's not? And then again, now I'm blocked to my trust, because if it's not perfect, if I'm not getting 100% answer, if I'm not getting 100% good or bad, if I can't walk away from that article feeling like that was 100% valid, then I'm going to write off the whole thing. Even though there might actually have been something in there that was really good and really juicy for you. Again, not to take the whole thing. I'm not saying then that you should take that whole thing as God, but there's definitely ways in which we would benefit from being able to pull out the truth of something while leaving out the untruth. And so we're acting as our own editors, we're acting as our own filtration system, trusting in our own filtration system, right? It's almost like, do you trust yourself to filter out the germs and the bugs and the poisons and the toxins from the water source? Because you need the water source. You need to be accessing information. You need to be accessing the public. You need to be accessing the external world. But you have to be able to trust yourself as a filter. And I'm seeing a lot of people in this collective who do not trust themselves as filters, or who thought that they were good filters and actually ended up just getting sucked into the insanity and sucked into the world of the cognitive dissonance, which is understandable. But yeah, we need more and more people who are able to take the good out of the bad, or take the truth out of the lie, and be able to then distill it down and create wisdom from it. Know what is the wisdom in that situation. All right, so now what percent are we blocked to our trust? Only 50%. So let's go and see what else we can do to clear out that other 50%. We're going to go back to chart 5. This is a chart we're at a lot. And so what else is going on here on chart 5? Greed. Oh, that's interesting. Greed. Part of me thinks it's like greed for information. It's the first thing that popped into my head when that came up. It's like we're greedy for information. We're greedy for saying that we are the ones that know the truth. We're greedy for facts. We're really greedy, and we're unwilling to do the work, the patient work that is required to actually do the distillation process, to do the filtration process. When you are greedy, you just want to absorb and consume the whole thing. You don't want to wait for the process of filtering down the good from the bad. You just want it all. And you can see that in the consumption of goods and media in American culture, especially, where you just want to absorb as much as possible. Take. You're not even really concerned about the quality. So this is about accepting patience in order to achieve quality. Being willing to slow down in order to achieve quality, and letting that slow distillation process happen so that you can come down and get the juiciest, most healthiest bit from the thing. Whereas instead of being greedy and we're taking everything all at once and saying, mine, I want it all, this is our ability to slow down and say, I am willing to take this one little bit at a time to make sure that I am having the highest quality possible, that I am gathering only the truth, because that is what is going to help me trust myself and trust the world at large, as if I can be patient enough to distill down the good from the bad. Okay, now what percent are we blocked to trust? We are at 20%. We're chipping away at it slowly. So what is the rest of the thing we can do to open us up to trust? And I got chart 15. I thought maybe for a second there it was something else, but I think it is chart 15. Interesting. Dysfunction of the I am level of consciousness. And I've actually added onto this as well. So the swords imagery in tarot, the air, thought, consciousness, right? It's consciousness, it's thought, and there's a distortion and a dysfunction there. So we're just asking for that dysfunction to be called into balance. So the dysfunction of mind. The dysfunction of conscious mind that has been distorted, has been imbalanced. We're asking for that to be cleared now. Great. So be it. Amen. Thank you, Spirit. Clear it. And then what percent are we now blocked to our trust? 0%. Awesome. I'm going to ask, is there anything else we can do today here in this clearing that would benefit the collective in opening up to their discernment and to their wisdom? What do we need to do to fully open ourselves up to our discernment and our wisdom? Ooh, so duality of the I am level of consciousness. And that's the thing, right? It's like accepting that there is duality always in everything. And the only way you get to wisdom is through accepting duality. You don't get to have wisdom without accepting duality. I don't actually think that that's possible. I don't think it's possible to attain wisdom without acceptance of duality. So we're clearing anybody from any blocks they're having to accepting duality, any pain, any trauma, any difficulty people are facing when it comes to accepting duality, because it is challenging, right? It's like life can be beautiful and, you know, there's a small child that, you know, can die of cancer. And holding space for that is really, really hard. And so when we can't hold space for that, it does block us to our wisdom and our discernment. And so we're asking for that to be cleared. Anything else? Anything else here as it relates to trust, as it relates to truth, honesty, wisdom, discernment? Chart 10A, miscellaneous blocks. Okay, dissipation of our vital energies. And you know, that's the thing too. It's like they bombard us with all of this information, most of which is crap. And it dissipates our vital energy because we're spending all this time trying to process it, trying to distill it down, trying to edit it down, trying to filter it down. And that dissipates our vital energy. And so I'm calling in for everybody the wisdom and the knowledge to know when to walk away, when to turn it off, when to set down the phone, when to shut down the TV, when to put the news articles aside. And so we're just calling for everybody to be able to have those moments of knowing, ooh, okay, this went from me using this opportunity and this time to gather information, to do some discerning, to gather some wisdom, to now I'm just dissipating my vital energy and I can't even watch that. And I can just block that account. I can block that person. I don't even have to try anymore because now my wisdom is telling me this isn't even good for me at all anymore, not even in a small bit. Well, great. I actually really like that. Okay. Any final things we can do here? I'm going back to chart 5 one more time, and then I am going to wrap it up with our replacement energies. So what is it on chart 5 that we need to clear here now? Coercion. Wow, okay. Well, I was going to wrap it up, and then I'm like, wow, if this is about coercion, then we got to dive in deeper. But I don't think we're going to do that. We're just going to say clear the energy and the air of coercion so that none of us are feeling coerced into believing a truth that isn't real, into going down a rabbit hole that doesn't serve us, to, you know, watching and absorbing material and information that is not in our highest good. And I think for all of us to just wake up to the fact that there is so much out there that's sole purpose of its whole design and its whole functionality is coercion. And I mean, all you have to do is watch 3 commercials and you're like, oh, yep, nope, I'm being coerced. I don't watch TV, and I recently, because I had some time off work, I watched a Hulu series. I kind of binge watched it and could not believe the amount of coercion that was in the few commercials that was on there. The way that they wanted me to buy chicken so bad. I mean, I have never, the close-up shot of this chicken tender bouncing off of another chicken tender, it was so clear that all they wanted was for me to go buy chicken. They were trying to coerce me into wanting to eat chicken. And it disgusted me. I was like, I never want to eat chicken again because just how annoyed I am at how coercive you're trying to be with selling me this chicken. Hey, if I want to eat chicken, I'll go eat chicken. Let me decide for myself, but stop coercing me with your imagery and your close-up shot of the crumb falling off and the juicy. I don't want that in my life. I don't need that in my life. So we're opening all of us up to the truth and the understanding of the level of coercion that's happening, especially when it comes to information, advertisements, all of that stuff. So, all right, that's all for today, folks. Boy, that's just a taste. I feel like this clearing could be like an hour long, and I might shut off this video and continue to do more because it really does feel important and it feels good, even just for me, even if it's not a huge benefit for the collective. So our replacement energy is love. Wow, we don't get that one very often. Love, thoughtfulness. Thank you very much. That's really great. Wholeness. Okay, love, thoughtfulness, wholeness. Those are our replacement energies today, including that self-trust, including our ability to release the doubts we have about our own ability to discern what is and is not insanity out there in the world. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for watching. Again, you can reach me at www.thepointedstone.com or look up The Pointed Stone on Etsy if you are interested at all. And bye.